have Q&A time at the end, but that way we can get through all the information. I may go over something that you have a question about, later in the session. So if you want to just hold till the end, we'll have plenty of time for Q&A. So as I was putting together all of this information on why someone would get involved and kind of, the what's in it for you as the person getting involved, I came across this on, as I was looking at volunteering and branding, and I thought this was an interesting thing to share with you all. Volunteering is a great way to build your brand. Sharing your time can help you build your network and develop your skills. And then there are these positive statements that are associated with volunteering. It shows that you're team oriented. So you're not selfish, you'll give to others. And most importantly, you can work well with others. A good skill that sometimes people are looking for. So if you're involved in an organization or you volunteer, it shows that you can work well with others. Getting more involved is also a great way to expand your network. The more people you know, the more opportunities you'll have. And the old adage of it's not what you know, it's who you know really does apply here. The more areas where you're exposed to a variety of people, just the more opportunity you have to grow your network. And, having a big, rich network is always a good thing. Next item there is sharpens your skills. And, who doesn't want to do that? Volunteering is a great way to get experience using the skills you have, as well as using the skills you need to develop. It's a great opportunity, again, for some skill development, which is really nice. And the last statement there shows that you like to keep busy. There's an expression that if you want something done, ask a busy person. It seems that people who are busy tend to, be the ones who can really get things done and get things accomplished. So even in that, as you're, building your brand, building a resume, looking for some development, keeping busy really does help show to folks that, you can take on things and, are always looking to be productive and get things done. So again, as I was looking through things, I stumbled across another article that gives 5 great reasons why someone should get involved. For anyone getting involved at all with CFMA in whatever capacity it is, it looks good on a resume. The more well-rounded experience you have, the better. Again, the second one, meeting new people, expanding your network. Helps you determine career goals. Volunteering or getting involved with an organization or, in whatever kind of capacity you are getting involved with, get you out of your day-to-day job. And you might find something you do well or have a passion for that really just isn't something that's in the typical what you do day to day. Helps you develop and refine new skills. And again, who wouldn't want to do that? Skill development is something I think all of us, you want to learn new things and grow. So who doesn't want to do that? Oops, there we go. More confidence. Volunteering is a great way to get you out of your comfort zone. Giving a presentation, writing an article, being part of a committee that implements a new initiative. All of those things are things that you can be involved with that give you confidence you need to take back to your work life, your home life. So it's a great way to get more confidence and really build on that. This is a great quote from Cal Beyer. He's a longtime CFMA member, a former CFMA secretary, and often speaks at lots and lots of CFMA events and as an author. And this quote from him is, CFMA gave me my written and spoken voice as a thought leader. When I look at my first CFMA conference in 1998 and how my career advanced, I attribute my personal growth and professional development to CFMA. And I think, again, Cal's been a longtime author and presenter, helping to develop your skills, through that involvement with CFMA has been really fruitful for him. So now maybe you're thinking, this all sounds great. Sign me up. I'd love to get more involved with CFMA. So what next? First, again, it's great to think, okay, all these things sound great, but it's really important to pick the right opportunity for you. Don't get involved with anything, for the sake of getting involved or just to put something on your resume. It's really important to get involved in an area that adds more depth to what you want to do. The expression, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life, kind of comes to mind here. Follow your passion, do what you really want to do what you love to do. If you're going to spend time and effort and energy on something, make sure it's something you like doing. So it's not, it's something you're passionate about. It's something you enjoy doing, as well as, getting experience and meeting new people and all of the other things that come along with that. And again, one more article I found on making the most out of volunteering had these 3 items. And this again falls back to the what I just said on the last slide. Find your passion. So be passionate and curious. Spending your volunteering time where you have passion and interest is really, really important. Make a firm commitment of time and energy. Finding the right fit is really important so that your time is well spent. Again, getting involved for just the sake of getting involved and where you don't have passion might cause you to not give the time and effort and energy needed to get involved, because you need to feel that passion and feel that commitment to what you're doing. So that's a really important thing to do, as well as finding the opportunity that matches the time you have to get involved. If you have an hour a month, maybe you want to get involved with something that requires that amount of time, not something that requires a day a month. It's just something to look into and really consider as you consider getting more involved. And the last bullet there is think about ways that you can add value. I personally have been on volunteer boards in various organizations for most of my career. I'm currently the president of a board of a brand new nonprofit. Recently, we needed to write and approve bylaws. Again, brand new nonprofit. So much of my work with CFMA is with our chapters. I'm sure I know some of you on this call today, and chapters and writing bylaws and reviewing bylaws is something that I am involved with often day to day in my role here at CFMA. So I knew that was a task where that group and that board needed help, where I could add value. Again, something that was really in my wheelhouse, something that I tend to do very regularly. So something that kind of came easy for me. So that was a great way where I could get involved, where some of the other tasks that come up on that board may not be the place where I have the expertise, so someone else may volunteer there. So it's always important to find ways that you can add value, just again, based on experience or knowledge, or even, something you like to do. So now let's get into talking about CFMA. There are lots of ways you can, add value, show your expertise, and expand your network by getting more involved. And as this slide has lots and lots of items on here. We did a session like this back in, I believe, October, and we didn't have quite as many areas. We're planning on doing these regularly and highlighting what is a place where you can get involved right away. Because if we, have you on here and you're thinking, yes, I want to get involved, we don't want to give you an opportunity that, may not be available for a whole year. So we'll go through all of these, a bit of the timelines on each of some of these, if they're not the standard CFMA year, but these are the current things available now. If you happen to be someone, again, who's already involved with CFMA and you notice where you're involved isn't listed, it's because there's not a current need. So as I go through each of these items, make a note for yourself if you have any interest. After this session, we will be sending everyone who attended a link where if you are interested in getting more involved or getting more information, you can kind of check off which area or areas are of interest to you, and someone on staff who deals with that will get back in touch with you. Some areas do have limited openings. So if there's something that you feel really, really, really strongly on, kind of get that in as quickly as you can. If you're thinking, as we start talking, that's really something you want to do. There are a few areas that just have openings for 1 or 2 people. Most things that we have openings for will take, as many as will volunteer in some cases. Most of our committees do operate on the CFMA year, which is 4/1 through 3/31. So keep that in mind. For some others, as we start to go through, if the time frame's a little different and we know it, I do have it on here so that will be noted. So let's get started with kind of talking through each of these areas. The next few slides, there's going to be a lot of information regarding some of the different ways that you can get involved. The underlying item is the committee or task or subcommittee or task force that is looking for volunteers. The line right under that is the time commitment. And if any of them, again, have a different year than the CFMA year, like our financial survey and benchmarker committee on this page, that will be noted. And then the italicized information is who would be the best person for that committee, that subcommittee, that task, or whatever that is. So all of that information is in here, and that's kind of the order of it as we go through. So let's start talking about CFMA committees. Most committees do meet once a month. Again, if the time commitment is under each one, so that will be clear as we go through each of these. So we're just going to go through committee by committee. First is Chapter Resource Committee. This committee does meet 1 time a month. To be on this committee, you must be a current chapter officer or a past chapter president who's still currently in your chapter's board. So you need that chapter involvement. So that's the criteria for that committee. Next is our conference program committee. This committee meets 3 to 4 hours a month, September through January, and then there may be some time for some tasks on site at our conference each year. And this is open, primarily we're looking for general members with some experience developing chapter events or regional conferences, something similar to the conference program conference sessions. Next up is our financial survey and benchmarker committee. This is 1 hour per quarter, and they operate on the October through September year. So this would not be starting for likely till that time frame. And for here, we're looking for general members with an understanding of benchmarking and of CFMA's, specifically CFMA's benchmarker product. Next, Heavy Highway Committee. This committee meets monthly, 1 hour a month. And this committee is open to all members working in the heavy highway segment of our membership. This could be open to general members working at a heavy highway company, working in the financial role. Also associate members, if you work in that, kind of heavy highway segment of construction, open to those members as well. Membership committee is 1 hour a month, and the membership committee is open to all CFMA members in good standing. The Publications Advisory Committee meets quarterly, so just 1 hour a quarter is the time commitment there. And this is open to anyone who's interested in CFMA content and some industry content. The Specialty Trade Committee meets for an hour a month every other month, so an hour every other month. And this similar to Heavy Highway is open to members in the specialty trade segment, general members working at those contractors, as well as associate members working with those contractors. And then our Suicide Prevention Committee, this committee meets monthly, so that 1 hour a month. And the right person here is someone who has the desire to help promote and support mental well-being and suicide prevention efforts. So those are all of the CFMA committees that have openings right now. So now there's quite a few educational opportunities for where we're looking for volunteers. So I'm going to now go through those. Our webinar subcommittee is looking for some volunteers. They meet monthly, so 1 hour a month. The right person for this committee is someone who either regularly attends CFMA's webinars or chapter events or regional conferences, and involved in something, that type of content. And these folks would provide ideas on industry-related content for CFMA's webinars. We're always looking for course presenters for CFMA's courses, and these opportunities come up based on demand. All our courses are 2 to 8 hours, so there's a big variety there, plus it involves some prep time as well on your part if you were interested in being a course presenter. And obviously here, we're looking for folks who have in-depth knowledge of the course material. Prior presenting is helpful. Expertise in one or more of these following areas is specifically what we're looking for. Advanced cash forecasting, risk management, surety, construction contracts, revenue recognition, and taxes. Subject matter experts, we are always looking for subject matter experts. And I always joke when I go to chapters and speak to folks, I think that sounds like a big scary word, like you have to be an expert in something. My line to everyone is always, if you feel like you know a lot of information about a topic, you may be a subject matter expert. You just kind of have to know a lot of stuff about a certain topic. Don't feel like you need to be someone who has to, come in and fully, write something or give something that's completed. It's really, we're looking for some subject matter experts to just share some expertise as we develop courses and, things like that. So just looking for some folks with some in-depth topic knowledge. And obviously whatever folks are getting involved in as a subject matter expert is going to vary. Typically, a subject matter expert would be involved about 2 to 3 hours a month over a 1 to 2 month period. Often they're little bites of something that we're working on. So we're always looking for folks for, specific things. Even in here, the examples we included our CFMA courses, micro learning, which is something that we are looking into and going to launch providing, and the financial management and accounting for the construction industry publication. So we're always looking for subject matter experts for a variety of things. CCIFP Study Guide Task Force. This group will meet 1 to 2 hours per month, looking for folks who have knowledge of the specific domains of the exam. And this group would be assisting with updating the resources included in the study guide, things like the flashcards, reference links, other items as well. And then we are also looking for a few volunteers to help us update the Treasury Management Series. This one would be about 2 hours a month. The time frame of this is October 2021 through February 2022. We're looking for folks with experience with the big picture treasury management and areas related to that. The task here would be review and revise the existing course. And some of the specific topics, specific areas that need revision are topic 606, emergency planning, and then looking at a content refresh of the course. So now on to authoring. Building profits. You're all familiar with building profits. Primarily, those articles are written, for our members, by our members. So we're always looking for folks to write articles for building profits. So again, if you feel like you have in-depth knowledge of a certain subject matter, you might be the right person to author an article. Publication staff will guide through the article writing process. So again, here, don't feel like you need to write something and have it be complete, just kind of submit it and it gets published. Our staff will help guide the writing of that. Even if, what you're initially thinking is just sort of some bullet points and an idea, our staff can work with you to get that formulated into an article. And then our heavy highway and specialty trade areas where many of you have probably heard, we are launching a new website in about 2 weeks or so. So currently we're doing heavy highway and specialty trade, our newsletter for those specific segments. We will be having a content hub on our new website with content divided up. So we're always looking for folks to write articles for us in each of these areas. They're always needed in an ongoing basis. Third-party reviewers. So third-party reviewers review the content of Building Profits articles before publication. So this varies based on articles and the kind of the ebb and flow of what's submitted and where we need some almost fact checking, if you will, on this. For a third-party reviewer, we're really looking for folks with expertise in the article content. And these folks review articles for inconsistencies and changes that are needed prior to publishing. Now we're going to move on to certification. So for ICCIFP, for any of the opportunities there, any of the ways to get involved there, you must sign a confidentiality, non-disclosure, and non-compete agreement. So that holds true for all the ICCIFP items on the next few slides. We're looking for folks to join our exam development committee. The committee meets once a month as needed. There could be some subcommittee activities as well. These would be folks who have a knowledge of the exam and certification guidelines, and they work on, obviously developing the CCIFP exam. The next item is item writing and item review subcommittee. That they meet once a month for 6 months for about 4 to 6 hours. And then they have 1 to 2 in-person item writing sessions per year. In a normal year, hopefully we get back to that this year, but that group does also meet in person, a time or 2 each year to get together to review and write questions. The right person for this role would be a CCIFP in good standing. Knowledge of the exam and certification guidelines would be really helpful. And looking for folks specifically with expertise in 1 or more of the CCIFP knowledge areas. So IT, cybersecurity, tax, and audit are the particular places where we have a need. The CCIFP Accreditation Committee, they meet an hour a month as needed. January through March, they meet weekly and have 1-hour calls because they're busy in renewal season. Here too, we're looking for folks who have expertise in 1 or more of the CCIFP knowledge areas. And the ideal person here would have willingness to learn the ISO accreditation standard. Training on that would be provided, but it's a great opportunity to learn something new. The CCIFP Governance Committee, they meet 1 hour a month. And again, the person here who'd be a good candidate would have knowledge of exam and certification guidelines, and any CCIFP in good standing would be preferred. So that was certainly lots and lots of things. Those are kind of all the big picture CFMA things. You know, again, as you all know, our year is 4/1 to 3/31. Many of our committees operate on that year and only allow folks to join at the beginning of the year, which is why this list is so big and rich of committees, because many of them that have that annual requirement were right in that season. So now's a great time if you want to get plugged into one of those committees. I also always like to talk about getting involved locally, getting involved at your chapter. Just as we talked about how, you know, getting involved at CFMA can help kind of build industry credibility, build your brand, expand your network. Getting involved locally is really the same way, just, you know, expanding those things locally versus industry wide. So I encourage anyone thinking about getting involved to get involved at your chapter. All chapter committees, you know, all chapters have committees. Committees vary by chapter. Some have just a handful, some have many. So get to know your chapter members, and you can make local industry contacts by joining the committees. So I encourage you to, you know, reach out to your local chapter and think about joining a committee. It's a great way to have a lot of impact at the local level and really, you know, help drive the direction of your chapter. Another way to get involved locally is become a chapter board member. And you know, as the board develops the strategic direction of your chapter, you can be part of that group that shapes the strategic direction of the chapter, again, and has a lot of impact locally. And even in here, you can be seen as a leader by others in your chapter, again, building your brand. You know, folks will see that you're someone who's willing to step up, willing to volunteer, willing to get in and do the work that's needed. Chapter officer. So again, be a leader in your chapter. And this is a great opportunity for folks to, you know, again, learning how to lead. Being a volunteer leader of your chapter board really does kind of help get some of that leadership, that governance experience that you may not get otherwise. You know, as everyone sort of, you know, you're in your spot in your career now, as you elevate, a lot of times that experience can really come in handy. We had a member who's actually a past national chairman now, who used to actually say he almost considered his chapter board involvement and his chapter leadership involvement kind of his laboratory, figuring out how to lead, and it really helped him greatly at work as he, you know, got promoted and got a bigger and bigger role, having led that diverse group and led the strategic direction of the chapter. So it's a great way to get some real life leadership experience. So you know, again, consider, you know, potentially leading a local chapter. And then chapter speaker, just as we're always looking for speakers for a variety of things at the CFMA level, our chapters are also always looking for speakers, whether it be for, you know, a monthly meeting, sitting on a panel, and then regional conferences as well. So any of these things really do vary chapter to chapter, what folks are looking for there. But I think it's a great opportunity, again, to build your local credibility, build your brand, be seen as an industry expert locally. So, you know, I encourage you to reach out to your chapter if you have interest in that. So how do you get started? So as I mentioned, we will be sending anyone who attended a link to this SurveyMonkey, which you can capture any of the areas that you might be interested. If you want to jot this down real quickly now, and you can just type it in and go there. The survey really mirrors the slides, so it goes kind of in order, what each area is, what the time commitment is, and a brief description. So I know I threw a lot of information at you. So all of that is recaptured in there, so you don't have to remember what each thing is. It does restate that. And if you have any questions, Mary Kelzinski here at CFMA handles a lot of our volunteering and our committee work. And then I'm, you know, Kathy Wasser, CFMA's VP of Member Services. So with that, again, I know I gave you a lot of information. We did this back in October, and it was probably half this list just because the timing of the year. So does anyone have any questions on anything I presented, any specific committee questions, anything I can answer? And I think everyone's on mute, so if you do have a question, feel free to unmute and ask.
I guess I have a quick question. So I am new to the San Diego chapter, and I just really would love to get my foot in the door. definitely networking, meeting people. Where do you think would be the best place to start? Some of those, obviously I'm not an expert in a few of them. So what would you suggest is like a great place to maybe start off?
I think, if you start looking at the big picture CFMA level, I think the committees are a great place to start. Because again, the committee work tends to be, most are an hour a month. So it's a great place to just, get some experience on a variety of CFMA things, get to know some people. Again, also chapter level, I think it'd be great for you to get involved in the chapter. That's always a good thing too, but their needs are a little different and I can't specifically talk to what they need. I know they're a great group of folks in San Diego. So I'd encourage that, but I think on the CFMA level, getting involved in a committee is sort of the best kind of foot in the water kind of position.
Perfect.
Kathy, I do. I have a question. It's Tony.
Hello, Tony. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good.
I'm a little bit different. I've been involved in the 3 years I've been with the CFMA in getting involved. However, what I notice for myself is, at least, is that as I go to different things, whether I go to the board, go on a committee, is that is there some way when people that are new and want to get involved in these and have the interest that they can link up with someone to kind of give them what to expect and how you can make a difference, how to maximize the value of you being there by understanding what the real needs are.
Sure. So again, I can only talk big picture CFMA, not chapter stuff. That's kind of why we started doing these, just to talk through what each area is. We obviously have all the committees listed on our website and all the other information out there if you want to go get it. But doing these sessions has been a great way to even just briefly talk through what the committees are. I think if, again, any one person is thinking, okay, I'm not sure what the right thing is for me. If you're still not sure, I would say email me and let's chat and kind of talk through, again, figuring out what it is that you really want to do. Because, you could, many of you are probably qualified to sit on any committee or, do a lot of these tasks, but what's the thing you want to do? Because if you're not doing what you really want to do, it's a lot harder. So, but again, Tony, I would say for most people, if you haven't done anything big nationally, getting involved in a committee is a really good first step. Again, unless you have it really is where your passion is. Even I was going to say, if you're really passionate about education and education, we often have a lot of little things that are more bite size. So a committee is really a year-long commitment, but again, most are only an hour a month, so not so bad. So again, there's really no one size fits all answer, again, which is why we kind of do all these things. But hopefully giving you all an overview of what's out there and what each thing is helpful as you kind of ponder that and think about that and think about your direction.
Thank you. I will add to anyone who's interested. I went in blind to almost everything I did and not knowing I could do anything in with respect to it. And I learned so much from each step of the way. It was fascinating. It's been fun, actually.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions?
Yeah. Kathy, I have a question. It's Jamie from Buffalo. With the different committees, does it matter at all if you're still currently a chapter board member or officer to be involved?
That's a great question, Jamie. Again, most committees, the lift is really only an hour or so a month. There are certain committees like the chapter resource committee, for example, we want you to be a current officer or a past chapter president. So that committee is, ideal for someone, in that position. But again, committee wise, most of them are fairly low level of commitment, just an hour or so a month. So you can do that. But again, folks in chapter leadership, I would say that's really got to be that's the focus. So if you kind of feel like that takes a lot of time and you may not, how much more time how many more things you can add on your plate is really up to you. But certainly if you're a chapter leader, that's kind of that's a much higher commitment than a national committee. And I think that's an important thing to differentiation to make. If you're on your chapter's board and if you're an officer in your chapter, that takes a lot more time. If you're on a national committee, that really does take a lot less time and effort and energy. So they really are different animals. So again, I think someone in chapter leadership, that's kind of got to be the focus, because that's, again, that takes a little bit more time. But, you know, adding a committee to that, if you have time to do it, is great. If not, waiting till your chapter leadership term's over might be the way to go. Any additional questions, comments? Well, I thank you all for joining us. We had a nice big group today. I thank you all for joining us. As I said earlier, we will be sending out to everyone who attended a link to that Survey Monkey if you're interested in getting involved. If you're not, that's okay too. But that's more just to capture what you may be interested in, and then staff will be in touch. Whoever the correct staff person is who handles that will be in touch, just to kind of talk through whatever that opportunity is a little bit more, how heavy a lift it is, you know, going through the time commitment again, and a little bit deeper into what each task or each committee does. And then if that, you know, then you can make a final decision on whether or not that's right for you. But if you do have some interest, please fill out the survey and what you're interested in. And thank you all for joining. Have a great weekend.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Kathy.
Kathy.
Bye, everyone.